Hey everyone, and welcome back, Focus Learners, to another explainer. Today we are unpacking a truly fascinating concept, and it comes straight from a brilliant article by Roya on productivity and decision-making. We're going to be looking at a principle that pretty much flips our entire modern hustle culture completely on its head. It's called Falklands Law, and the core premise? Well, it's the idea that sometimes the absolute smartest, most strategic move you can make is to do absolutely nothing.
Okay, let's dive into this because we face this core emotional dilemma almost every single waking hour, don't we? Should you act or should you wait? I mean, you get an email. Do you fire off a reply instantly or do you sit on it? A problem pops up in a team project. Do you jump right in to fix it or kind of see how it develops? We just constantly feel this heavy, almost crushing burden to just do something, anything really, just to feel like we're moving forward.
And honestly, that brings us right to our modern dilemma. Roya Bloom's article highlights this exhausting reality perfectly. Every single day, we are bombarded with literally countless micro-decisions. And because of the crazy speed of modern life, our default setting is just to react immediately. We're living under this immense, crushing weight of artificial urgency. I mean, just think about the sheer panic induced by a sudden Slack or Teams notification sound, right? Everything feels like a 5-alarm fire that needs to be put out right this second. And it causes massive decision fatigue, draining our energy until we're pretty much just running on an anxious, highly reactive autopilot.
But centuries ago, Lucius Carey, the second Viscount Falkland, offered this incredibly elegant counter-argument. And this right here is the central thesis of our explainer. He said, when it is not necessary to make a decision, it is necessary not to make a decision. Just think about the counterintuitive brilliance of that for a second. He's not just saying it's okay to wait, he is saying it is absolutely necessary to wait if the decision isn't currently required.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the super clear distinction it makes. We are defining this as strategic inaction. And I want to draw a really hard line here based on Bloom's article. This is absolutely not procrastination. Procrastination is avoiding a decision that actually needs to be made, usually out of fear or laziness. But strategic inaction? That's calculated discernment. It's intentionally withholding a decision, avoiding premature conclusions based on incomplete or highly emotional information until a situation clearly demands one. It's a highly active, highly aware state of waiting.
So how do we actually use this? Let's move into Application 1, the workplace.
In leadership and project management, you know the pressure to be perceived as quick, decisive, and totally on top of things is incredibly intense. But acting quickly isn't always acting smartly. So the crucial point is, if you react too early when there's still a lot of ambiguity, you're going to face some very real professional costs. First, you risk committing to the totally wrong solution simply because you didn't have enough data yet. Second, and I think we've all seen this happen, you risk overcorrecting a minor hiccup that, if you just left it alone, would have completely resolved itself. And ironically, by trying so hard to look decisive, you can actually lose credibility by appearing impulsive and reactive rather than measured and thoughtful.
Let's actually contrast these two approaches. On the one hand, reacting too early is totally driven by anxiety and pressure. It's this desperate rush need to close the loop right now before you lose control. But pausing to observe, that creates space. By applying Falkland's Law and simply observing, you actively slow down the clock. You allow time for better, more accurate data to emerge. You allow time for cooler heads to prevail when emotions are running high. Or, as Bloom points out, you just give an unnecessary problem the time it needs to fizzle out entirely on its own.
All right, let's pivot now and look at Application 2, the classroom.
This principle is a total lifesaver for students who are dealing with their own unique brand of overwhelming pressure. If you've ever been a student, you know the crushing weight of endless content, super tight timelines, and the constant stream of conflicting advice on how you should be learning. But Bloom's article offers a really powerful reminder here. Not all problems require immediate solving. Imagine you're unsure which study method to use, or you're agonizing over whether to drop a specific course, or how to prioritize your subjects. Instead of forcing a choice right this second, just pause. Let the situation develop. Clarity almost always comes with a bit of time and reflection, not by forcing an immediate panicked choice when you aren't ready.
And that brings us to our final application, everyday life.
Everyday life is honestly the arena where decision fatigue hits us the absolute hardest, and where we so often just find ourselves on that exhausting autopilot. But we can actually take our power back simply by resisting the urge to react immediately. We constantly try to solve everything the very second it appears. We agonize over which productivity tool to use, or exactly how to plan the week ahead, or how to instantly reply to that one pinging email. And this brilliantly illustrates how Falklands Law gives you explicit permission to ignore that artificial urgency. Seriously, not every single email demands a reply right now.
Choose silence and space when the urgency is artificial. Not every tension needs resolving today. I really want you to just sit with that idea for a second. When you give yourself that deliberate, strategic pause, you create the necessary room for better choices. You actively reduce the amount of regret you're going to feel later. You step completely out of the chaos.
Which brings us to our final takeaway from Roy Bloom's exploration of Falklands Law. It is a profound shift in mindset. Sometimes the most powerful action, the most strategic, intelligent, and effective thing you can possibly do is no action at all. Wait for clarity. Discern the true necessity of the situation, and only move when it is truly time to move.
But of course, the journey to mastering your time and focus absolutely doesn't stop here. Falklands Law is just one part of a much larger series on the laws that secretly influence our decisions. So I'm going to leave you with this question for our next explainer. Is information overload really a lack of mental capacity on your part, or is it actually a sign of poor systems? We'll be unpacking Wilson's Law next time to find out. Until then, keep observing, keep learning, and remember the power of the pause.